On February 14, 2014, Mrs. Kemi Bankole, a business center operator at the University College Hospital in Ibadan, Oyo State, had gone to her office as usual and returned home to their flat on Abayomi Road in Ibadan at around 8 p.m. What should have been a quiet Friday evening will eventually turn into something else entirely. Her husband, Anthony Bankole, a 40-year-old ex-banker, was home when she arrived. He had been drinking. When Kemi walked through the door, Anthony began accusing her of spending the day with another man. It was an accusation he could not prove. Neighbors who later spoke with journalists confirmed it was baseless, but the accusation did not need to be true. In order to cause damage, it only needed to be spoken by a man who had already made drinking and violence a pattern in their home. At around 11 p.m. that night, Kemi made a phone call to a doctor. She told the doctor that her husband had started again. The doctor, understanding what she meant, advised her to leave the house immediately and find somewhere else to spend the night. Mrs. Bankole would not have the chance to take this advice because in the coming hours, a lot of damage will be inflicted on her. Around 1:30 a.m., Anthony Bankole ran out of their flat and knocked on a neighbor's door. He was frantic, asking to borrow a car to rush his wife to the University College Hospital. By the time they got to him, Kemi was already unresponsive. She was foaming at the mouth. They drove her to the hospital as fast as they could. The doctors did everything they could to revive her, but it was too late. Kemi Bankole was confirmed dead. Anthony returned home. He mopped the floor of the flat. He washed the mattress and some clothes that were stained with blood. He sprayed them out to dry on the line at the back of the house. The neighbors on Abayomi Road did not need to be told that something had gone wrong in the Bankole home. They already knew. Many of them had witnessed or heard previous incidents. According to those who spoke to journalists, Anthony would beat Kemi at the slightest provocation. He would beat her until she lost consciousness and then pour water on her to bring her around. This had happened multiple times in the past. 2 years before her death, a particularly serious incident had occurred. During one of their fights, Anthony had stripped Kemi completely naked and locked her outside the house. Church members who got word of it rushed to help and cover her up. The incident was reported to a police station. After statements were taken, the couple was sternly warned by the DPO and told to go home together. Kemi, who was afraid for her life, refused to go back with her husband. Eventually, the matter was settled by her elder sister, who brought the couple to Ilesha to resolve the dispute. There were ongoing accusations from Anthony that Kemi was unfaithful, allegations that those who knew her rejected completely. Neighbors described her as an easygoing woman who would not hurt anyone. Her younger sister described her as silent and enduring, someone who had kept suffering in silence. Despite all of it, the couple stayed together and had 4 children. And now, on the morning after Valentine's Day in 2014, Kemi was dead. She was 14 weeks into a new pregnancy. When Kemi's family arrived and asked Anthony what had happened to their daughter, he gave them an incredible explanation. He told them that Kemi had woken up in the night screaming the names of their children and had used her own 2 hands to strangle herself. Her younger sister knew immediately that this was not true. Nobody strangles themselves. The explanation made no sense to anyone who heard it, but Anthony held to his account. Meanwhile, Kemi's co-workers at the UCH Business Center were not prepared to simply accept that their colleague had died of something unknown. They wanted a post-mortem examination to establish the true cause of her death. When they raised the idea, Anthony objected immediately. As the husband, he said he did not want a post-mortem done. His resistance only deepened the suspicions of those around him. Undeterred, Kemi's colleagues put money together between themselves to fund the examination. On Sunday morning, Kemi's family arrived at the story building where the couple had lived to demand answers. When they were not satisfied with what they heard, they announced that they would use traditional means to find out who had killed their daughter. They would not allow the matter to rest. That became the very last time any of them would see Anthony Bankole alive. On Monday, Anthony asked the neighbor for 200 naira. He said he was going to withdraw money from an ATM. The neighbor gave him the money and told him not to stay out long. Anthony left the house. Before long, his brother received a text message from him. It was written in Yoruba language. When translated, the message said that he thanked his brother for all the support he had given to him from his youth until that day. It said that conscience fights harder than any charm. It also said that he had decided to do what a man should do at his building site. He asked his brother to take heart and to bury him and Kemi together in the garage at the entrance of their property. He asked him not to bury him outside. He also asked him to take care of the children and keep them together. By the time the family went to the site, the uncompleted building at the Olodo area of Ibadan, Anthony was already gone. He had intentionally joined his late wife. 4 children had now lost both parents within days of each other. Though the formal results had not been officially released at the time of reporting, investigators gathered that the post-mortem examination had told a very different story from the one Anthony had given. Bloodstains were found inside Kemi's brain. One of her clavicles, the bone that connects the neck and the shoulder, had been broken. These findings were consistent with a violent assault, not with any version of events in which a person could have caused their own death. The evidence pointed to strangulation. Kemi had also called the doctor that night to say that her husband had started again. That call, made at 11 p.m., placed the timeline of events in sharp focus. She had known what was happening. She had reached out, and by 1:30 a.m., she was being rushed to the hospital. In the aftermath of the tragedy, questions arose about the future of the 4 children the couple had left behind. It was reported that one of Anthony's family members had taken the children to Oyo town, where they were to live with a woman who worked as a farmer. Kemi's younger sister raised concerns about whether this woman would be able to properly care for 4 children. At the time, the eldest child was not informed that her father was also dead. She was still asking her aunt where her father had gone, not knowing that he too had passed. The couple's younger family members on Anthony's side suggested that the uncompleted building at Olodo, where Anthony had died, should be sold. Kemi's family rejected this suggestion outright. Their view was that any money from a sale would be spent by adults, while the children would be left without anything. They believed the property should be kept for the children's future. Kemi's younger sister, when she spoke to journalists, said something that stayed with those who heard it. She said that the saying, "for better for worse," had killed her sister. Kemi had endured, she had stayed, she had believed in the vow, and it had cost her everything. The sister had also spoken with Kemi on the phone just a few days before she died. She had seen her about 2 weeks before her death. There was nothing in those conversations to suggest that within days she would be gone. She said the neighbors and acquaintances who had seen Kemi's body in the mortuary had told them that she had been beaten on the nose, combined with the broken clavicle and the bleeding in the brain. The picture that emerged was of a woman who had fought for her life and lost. Kemi Bankole was described by everyone who knew her as gentle, quiet, and kind. She ran a business center. She had built something of her own. She had 4 children she loved. She had tried to hold her family together through years of violence. On the night she finally reached out to a doctor for help, it was too late. This story aims to serve as a painful reminder of the real and deadly consequences of domestic violence. What do you think Kemi should have done? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel or page for more true crime stories.